Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about people who get caught up in the supplement business. And it's really interesting when we think about it, because I spend a lot of time talking about this. I've discussed even the stuff from Business Insider today, them ragging on the whole supplement industry. And a lot of people who are in the know really dislike this industry. They see it as overall negative. I'm one of those people. But it's also, you have to step back and wonder about the mentality of the people who get involved in it themselves, and particularly once they get caught up in it and they get caught up in that investment trap, that ego trap of being in the industry. And I think once you see that happen, it's easy to see how a lot of people could get involved in that and step back, and once they're involved, to step back and say to themselves, I'm not really doing anything bad. And that's ultimately the thing that people need to realize. In fact, and when you call someone out who doesn't legitimately feel that they're doing anything bad, it doesn't matter if it's me, it doesn't matter if it's Mark Lobliner, it doesn't matter if it's you. If people call you out for doing something that you think is being successful, that you don't see as a bad thing, and they're calling you out and calling it bad, your immediate response to it is always going to be, no, I'm not. Because you know what, at the end of the day, all men want to feel like we're good people. Do you think anyone really wakes up and says, you know what, I want to be a crook today, I want to be a terrible person? Few people probably do, but the vast majority don't. Most people want to feel like they're a good person. They want to feel like they're a good person. They don't want to feel like they're doing something bad, particularly when other good things are tied to it. And that's kind of the crux of getting involved in this industry. That's what I would tell a lot of people. Don't get sucked into this industry. You take someone like Mark Lobliner, that's a perfect example. You take someone like him, he got sucked into this industry at a pretty young age, didn't he? Was a fat guy, decided to work out and try to get into shape. And that's a pretty standard reason. A lot of dudes are fat and chunky and decide they want to work out. I mean, that's perfectly normal. See it all the time. Just like you see the skinny guy who wants to get big. You see the fat guy who wants to get jacked and get lean and get better too. He was one of those guys, got involved in it, and got hooked up with Joe Weider really early on. And he considered Joe Weider to be a mentor of his. Got him hooked into the supplement game very, very early in his adulthood. He got sucked into it. Built a career in an industry. What I would say to a lot of people, this is one of those things to where if you really want to be a good person, step back and assess when you get sucked into an industry or a line of work. Is this really going to be a good thing? Is this something I'm really going to be able to live with myself with if I'm successful in it? I know at least at one point in my life I got sucked into a line of work that when I had to really think it through, I realized it didn't necessarily make me a very good person. I'm not going to say what that line of work was. But it certainly didn't make me a good person. Yeah, I made good money doing it. Made real good money doing it, but it wasn't particularly moral. So, that's stuff that we got to step back and assess, because you don't want to get caught into this sort of trap. Because you take someone like Mark, who did that, he got involved in this business at a very young age. He was sold on this business at a very young age. He's built his whole life around it. Guy now has a family, he has children. He sees, for him, morality at this point is being a good father, good family man, and taking care of my children. That's what a good man does. And I think most people could appreciate that part of it, right? All of us can. You know what? Good men do take care of their children. Good men do provide for their children. Good men provide for their family if they have one. I'm not saying you have to have a family to be a good man, but if you have a family and you don't provide for them and you don't take care of them, probably not a very good man. So there's some truth to that, but then when you get caught up in that as the be-all, end-all, this is a guy who got sucked into a business really, really early on. Into a shady business, shady industry, really. Now he has a family to provide for. He's become accustomed to a certain lifestyle. He's become accustomed to a certain lifestyle. And you know what? From his perspective, maybe because there is such a strong investment there, and he has to step back and say, you know what? My children's future, My children having a good future depends on me continuing to be successful in this. Maybe he's not even willing to entertain the possibility that maybe supplements don't even really help. Maybe they don't work. Maybe they're not that good. He can't entertain that idea because his livelihood and the future of his family, at this point, if he wants to continue the standard of living he's been able to provide for them, doesn't allow for that possibility, because that's a conflict in his own personal interest. It's a conflict in his ego. He's built his ego, built his career on these products, on the idea of this industry. He's got a pretty good life. His children are well taken care of. Now, what sort of father ever wants to step back and say, well, no, these products, I'm not selling crap products, I'm not selling junk products, this stuff works, it helps people, because they don't want to accept the possibility that what they're doing might be unethical when it's providing for their children. And their children's future depends upon it. No, not only are what they do good, they know deep down maybe their products work, maybe they know they don't deep down, they'll convince themselves they work. They'll convince themselves of it, lie to themselves that they have to, because you know what? Their family's important. And you know what? That's understandable. And their ego is on the line. And so therefore anyone who's attacking those products is a bad person. So why do you think, so when you guys hear Mark say something like, oh, Jason's a terrible person, he's a vile person. Of course, because I'm attacking an industry that his livelihood depends on. The future of his children depends upon that industry. In his mind, even though I'm doing what I feel is the right thing, a lot of people is the right thing by attacking this industry, because it is a bad industry. It does rip people off. It doesn't help people. I'm trying to be the good guy. I'm trying to help people not get ripped off. But in his mind, this guy's trying to take the future of my children away. Who does this guy think he is? What sort of evil person would want to take away the wealth that I'm trying to accumulate to help my children in their future? In his mind, I am an evil person at that point. Because he might even step back and really and truly feel that, yeah, that is the point. If guys like me become successful, if I become successful at what I'm doing here, and this industry goes down, they all lose money in this industry. He might see the very future of his children at stake, and in his mind, that does make me a bad person. And that's kind of the interesting point we get to when it comes to morality, and it comes to people's career choices and the different things that we do in life. There's a very subjective reality there. It's very subjective. What's right and what's wrong? You know, I mean, that's the sort of questions I think a lot of us keeps us awake at night. Am I doing the right thing? Am I being a good man? Am I pursuing endeavors that are good at the end of the day, or am I pursuing endeavors that are bad? You know, and that's a perfect example. On one hand, you have people who might be calling out an industry that they see as shady. They see an industry that's questionable, an industry that uses bad marketing, unethical marketing techniques, sells worthless products, swindles people out of money. And then you'll see the other end of it, the people doing it might be like, what are you talking about? Okay, maybe some of these products don't work, but a lot of them work. They help. And you know what? This providing a future for my family is providing for my children. This job, this career provides for my children. Who are you to say that this is bad? And you know what? A lot of people tell me I help them. People write me letters all the time that they love my products, that it helped them, and it's helped them reach their goals and made their life better. Who are you to say it doesn't work? You're the bad guy. You're trying to take away and destroy my livelihood. You're trying to destroy a business that I've promoted and helped create. You're trying to destroy an industry I'm involved in that provides for my family. You're the bad guy. That's an interesting conflict, isn't it? Because, you know, that's ultimately every single thing throughout history goes down that way. You guys really think the Nazis thought they were the bad guys? You really think they thought that? You guys really think the KKK thought that they were the bad guys? Or do you think that they thought they were preserving their people, preserving their culture, protecting their way of life, protecting their families? Maybe that's how they felt. But to everyone else looking out, we're like, no guys, that's not good. And I think most reasonable people today could look at that and say, no, the groups like that, no, they weren't good. Obviously they weren't good. But in their minds they were. In their minds they were the good guys. Because maybe they did feel they were protecting their families, they're protecting their way of life. Or in the case of the Nazis, preserving their race. That's how they felt. I mean, do you think Hitler really felt he was an evil, terrible person? No, of course he didn't. He probably thought he was a savior. And that's the interesting thing. We get into these ethical arguments like this, and everyone wants everyone else to be the bad guy, and we get in these fights, but that's the interesting thing. Everyone involved in a conflict genuinely feels that they're the good guy. That they're right, that they're the one doing the good thing, or that maybe they're trying to do a good thing and someone else just attacked them because they're jealous. Maybe it doesn't even occur to them that maybe the person attacking them or their opponent legitimately thinks they have a legitimate beef with them and thinks they're the bad guy. I mean, isn't that most conflicts? Isn't that most debates around the world? The other side usually thinks the other's the bad guy. Because everyone at the end of the day, we all want to feel that we're the good guy, whether we are or aren't. So the question I would ask a lot of you guys, you see all this stuff, the supplement industry, other industries like that out there, maybe step back and assess before you get too involved in an industry. Is this going to make me a good person? And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I want to make a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with capitalism. But I think that we as individuals, unless we want to get caught up in traps to where we might actually have to compromise our morals a lot, we should always ask ourselves before we get sucked into an industry or into a certain business endeavor, am I really doing the good thing? Is this really a good way to make money? Is it just a good way to make money? Or is it going to hurt people? Is it going to harm people? Is it going to con people? And if so, can I live with that? Am I willing to stake my whole future and then the livelihood of my children into something of questionable ethics? You know what? That's something each individual man has to ask for himself. I can't give you the answer to that, but be aware that the sort of conflicts that can arise from these things, because it's stuff that I think about a lot. And that's the thing, I think it's important when we have these debates, that deep down inside, I don't necessarily demonize people on the other end of the debate. When I take people like Lobliner and everyone else, they call him pocket liner, he's evil, he's greedy, whatever. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Maybe the other perspective I described is really how he sees it. Maybe he doesn't feel that he's the bad guy. And you have to understand that. When you have an opponent in anything, if you really want to understand your opponent, if you even want to beat someone in something, you probably should understand the way that they think. You should probably understand what their motives are. Probably not a bad idea to at least think these things through. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.